In this session, uh, it is going to talk about canonization. It is one of the best poems of John Donne and also a metaphysical poem. So, here are some learning objectives of the poem. Uh, the important ones of learning objectives are to remind the characteristics of metaphysical poetry as well as Donne's poetry again, to make students to understand what it deals with his personal love affair with Anne Moore, to present the speaker's love as divine and suggest the lovers are canonized as saints for the sake of love. That means how the lovers are going to be canonized. To understand the platonic love and the imageries represented in the poem, to analyze this poem particularly as a metaphysical poem. So, uh, here are some of the session outcomes. At the end of the session, the students will be able to definitely realize the poem definitely belongs to the group of love poems. It is an undercurrent of seriousness in spite of its outward light-heartedness and humor. So, an intermixture of thought and feeling, but little scope for pure emotions. The speech rhythms correspond to the state of mind. Speech rhythms and state of mind. The poem as an immortal, that is, canonization poem is an immortal one which perpetuates the legend of Donne's love for his beloved Anne Moore. So, here is the introduction. The poet wishes that world should not bother about his business. He should be left alone in peace. His love would not affect ant action of the world purpose. So that means his love would not affect anybody or any action. In the days of to come, he will be emulated by lovers and thus will be raised to sainthood, that is, to the canonization. That means after he is canonized, especially in the love context, he will be worshipped by the lovers. So that is the concept what he is going to talk. Then the theme of the poem, attainment of sainthood through love, invoking in the parody of Christian sainthood, the poet wishes an epitome of love, an ideal of the Venus. The speaker so says that the speaker poet to mind their he says to others, he asks the others to mind their own business, like flatter at the court or amass wealth. Let them speak of his infinite infirmities like palsy or gout, or about his old age of the loss of wealth and career. People may do anything but hinder his love. His love affair is wholly personal matter. It does not injure or harm anyone. His sighs have not sunk, so that means he is going to say that how his love is not going to disturb others. So because his sighs have not sunk merchant ships, nor his tears flooded fields, nor advanced the winner, nor made people victims of plague, nor affect agriculture activities. He means to say that no one will be affected, no activity will be hindered from his love or from their love. The general business of life has not been affected because liars have their shoots and soldiers in wars. So that means everyone will be in their own business. It will not affected their works or them. As fly and tapper, so he takes the symbols or the images of fly and tapper. As fly and tapper are conventional symbols of pining and sacrifice at the altar of love, the world ought look upon the lovers as insignificant flies or insignificant tappers. Tappers means candles burn themselves out. So that means by burning themselves, they give light to others. The poet says that the lovers are like tappers. The lovers can play the roles of eagle and the dove, experience of production and of meekness. As there is only one uh, phoenix bird rises to life from its ashes. Similarly, the lovers are two persons, their love has united into one. So, their love is nothing but phoenix bird, having both sexes in the same or in the one. Then this mystery of love makes eligible for canonization for the lovers. So he says, poet says that done, or as if the lover, the world will not let them love if they love, and they cannot love without loving each other. There is a conflict between the world and their love. They will rather sacrifice their worldly life than live without love. So these are some kinds of warnings to the world who are hating love and such other things. No funeral ceremonies nor tombs after their death. Their love legend will become the subject matter of poetry, incorporating their love story like the urns containing ashes of great men in Greek times. So, after the death, their songs will be sung in the praise for soon praise for soon people will consider them as canonized as saints of love. Their love will be spiritualized and themselves become saints, patrons of lovers and of the true lovers. That means they will be the patrons, worshippers. That means the lovers will worship these lovers as their patrons, their saints, their gods, like that. So, true love is holiness, and their bodies a hermitage for each other. The lovers extract the quietness of quintessential of the world, that is, live, live is life is the heat of all philosophers' stone. Their eyes act as mirrors and as an X-ray to reflect and scan the whole world. So the lovers epitomize the world, the microcosm of man and macrocosm of the universe. Thus, everyone should initiate and emulate the lovers as saints of love. That means everyone, particularly every lover, should consider these the lovers as the saints of love. So here are some appreciations about the poem. Donne celebrates his own love for his beloved Anemone. The poem ends with the paradox on invoking saints as patrons or meditators. The emphasis is more emphasis is on the true love of the two lovers, which is already to face any consequences for the sake of love. There is a sustained love, and they have made a hermitage of each other. The speech rhythms correspond to the state of mind as revealed in the moment of the verse. So the poem has abrupt beginning and what we call abrupt colloquial opening as in all metaphysical poems. So he says, "For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love." So opening lines are powerful, and the speaker lover regrets the attitude of people and shows his indignation definitely. No one is affected by, he says, no one is affected, no one is getting harm uh, by the love affair. Why those other people are thinking or disturbing the lover's love? Donne attempts to distinguish his love from the poems or love poems of Petrarch or Elizabethan. So ridicules the high tempests, tear floods found in Petrarchan love poems. So, with the example of Phoenix, there are several pictures of conceits, particularly in the third stanza, comparing the lovers to flies, tapirs, eagle, and dove. The eagle stands for the male as the symbol of predation and activity. The dove stands for the female as the symbol of meekness and nicety. So, riddle or mystery of the phoenix. It was believed that it was a phoenix was a mythical bird which dies itself in a funeral pile after 500 or 600 years and rises up again from the ashes to live another cycle of love. So only one phoenix bird, both having sexes, male sex and female sex. The lovers, two are one in their love. That means the two lovers are one as if the phoenix bird. They rise up young and fresh like the phoenix bird even after the death. So automatically people will consider them as saints. So they are ready to die for the sake of their love to become saints of love. That is what canonization. So with this there is the explanation of summary and critical analysis of the poem, that is canonization.